So here's a question that almost no one is asking. Why does every single ancient culture on Earth remember the same kind of supernatural figure? Not a war god, not a harvest god, not even a sun deity. I'm talking about the Trickster. In the Norse world, he's Loki. In Greece, Hermes or Prometheus. In Africa, Anansi the spider. Among Native Americans, Coyote or Raven. In India, Krishna the prankster. Different names, different costumes, same story. Always bending the rules, breaking the order, and somehow getting the world to love them for it. But why? Why would this same archetype appear in places separated by oceans and centuries? And why is our culture right now more obsessed with Loki than any other generation in history? Let's just say the Bible has an answer, and it's not the one Disney Plus wants you to hear.
In the beginning, God created the heaven and the earth.
And some things that should not have been forgotten were lost.
Man shall be ruled by law, not by the will of other men.
What is it? An ark. To hold the innocent. And the Creator sends his deluge to wipe out the wicked from this world.
The Lord of hosts will do battle for us. Behold his mighty hand.
Look far enough into the myths of any civilization, whether carved into stone in a temple, painted on walls in a tomb, sung around a tribal fire, you will find them. The troublemakers, the cunning manipulators, the beings who dance between ally and enemy. These are not just court jesters in divine form. They are catalysts for upheaval. They slip between the worlds, often as shapeshifters. They are masters of language and manipulation, able to turn enemies into friends and friends into pawns. They are often credited with bringing new skills or secret knowledge to humanity, gifts wrapped in a curse. And, strikingly, these traits are so specific and so consistent across the centuries that the similarities can't be brushed aside as coincidence. Across the pantheons of the ancient world, the Trickster is everywhere. We see in Norse mythology Loki, the shapeshifter, liar, and betrayer, a god who aids the other gods one day and destroys them the next. In Greece, we have Hermes, patron of thieves and liars. Prometheus steals fire from the gods and defies Zeus. In Egypt, we have Set, murderer of Osiris and bringer of chaos. In Mesopotamia, Enki was the wise but sly, breaking divine orders to give humans forbidden knowledge. In African and in Native American tribes, we have the Anansi, the coyote, and the raven. Heroes in one story, villains in another. These figures share the same DNA. They rebel against the established order. They charm their way out of trouble. They give humanity knowledge or power they weren't meant to have. And, this part's important, their stories always end the same way, with punishment, exile, and destruction. But then, if every culture remembers them, maybe it's because they're not just stories. We see in Genesis 6 that it describes something most pastors skipped over. The sons of God saw that the daughters of men were beautiful, and they took them wives for themselves. And the book of Enoch goes even deeper, that these divine beings, the Watchers, who came down to earth, they taught humans metalworking, sorcery, and astrology. In other words, forbidden knowledge. Now, does that sound familiar? Because we have Prometheus with the fire, Enki with magic, Hermes with the secret messages between worlds, and Loki with schemes that rewrite fate. From a biblical perspective, these gods were real, but they weren't on God's side. They were members of his heavenly council who rebelled. Nations remembered them as heroes or clever rogues, but the truth is they were deceivers, corrupters, and traitors. Here's where the language of Scripture sharpens the picture. In Hebrew, the word Satan means adversary or accuser. In passages like Job 1, 2, and Zechariah 3, he is portrayed as the one who stands against God's people, bringing accusations and seeking to undermine them. Jesus calls him the father of lies in John 8:44, and Revelation describes him as the deceiver of the whole world. The very title embodies the trickster role, opposing God's order through deception, twisting truth, and leading humanity into ruin. You know, throughout history, some of the most fascinating and thought-provoking moments have happened behind the scenes, in the inner circles, from the councils of ancient empires to the Last Supper, from secret plots against kings to quiet grassroots rebellions. What happens in secret often matters most. So that's why I created a place for our own inner circle over on Patreon. It's where the most dedicated members of this channel gather to go deeper down the rabbit holes, help shape future topics, and see raw, unfiltered behind-the-scenes episodes you won't find anywhere else. So meet us there, join the council, and see for yourself why what happens in secret changes everything. And that brings us to right now. It's not just that Loki shows up in a few blockbuster films, it's that he's been elevated to one of the most recognizable and beloved characters in modern media. Marvel's cinematic universe took a character rooted in betrayal and destruction and recast him with wit, vulnerability, and charm. The Disney Plus series doubled down, making him a central figure whose struggles feel relatable, even sympathetic. Merchandise, memes, fan communities all celebrate the god of mischief. And he's not alone. We're surrounded by variations of this same archetype. The charming rogue, the misunderstood villain, the rebel who breaks the system for the greater good. From TV shows like Lucifer to morally complex figures like Deadpool or Jack Sparrow, to clever anti-heroes in prestige dramas, the message is consistent. The rule breaker is the hero. These portrayals do more than just entertain. They train us to reinterpret rebellion, deceit, and moral compromise as virtues. They encourage us to side with the character who challenges authority, regardless of whether that authority is righteous. And the most dangerous part is it's subtle. We laugh at their jokes, we root for them to win, and without realizing it, we accept their worldview. But then, this is the exact same operating procedure that the tricksters of old used to win hearts and minds. Twist the truth until deception looks like honesty. Make rebellion look like liberation. Blur the line between good and evil until there's no line left at all. Every ancient culture once venerated these beings in temples. Now, we venerate them in the theaters and on streaming platforms in our own home and in pop culture itself. Different stage, same worship. Let's be blunt here. Loki is everywhere in pop culture for a reason. What we're really looking at here isn't harmless myth-making or Hollywood creativity. It's targeted storytelling, a deliberate shaping of perception. In marketing, they call it brand repositioning. Take something people once feared or opposed and slowly reframe it as desirable, even aspirational. In spiritual terms, it's much darker. The global entertainment machine doesn't just pull old gods out of the history books for fun. It dresses them up, makes them compelling dialogue and relatable backstories, and then turns them into household names. This is how you rehabilitate an archetype. Every inversion serves a purpose. Make the deceiver the hero, and the public begins to sympathize with rebellion against divine authority. Cast the destroyer as a liberator, and you plant the seed that destruction is necessary for renewal. Flood the cultural landscape with these stories, and you start to normalize the worldview they represent. But here's the real kicker. In every ancient story, the trickster's rise leads to collapse. Loki's mischief triggered Ragnarok. Set's treachery sparked divine war. Prometheus' theft led to endless punishment. Scripture captures this same trajectory in Psalm 82. I said, you are gods, sons of the Most High, all of you. Nevertheless, like men you shall die, and fall like any prince. It's the spiritual equivalent of a historical pattern: rebellion, brief glory, and inevitable fall. This playbook hasn't changed in thousands of years. It's just moved from the temple wall to the cinema screen. This isn't just nostalgia for old myths. This is narrative engineering. The global media machine thrives on undermining traditional order. They make the deceiver the hero, and they cast the destroyer as the liberator. They invert the moral compass. The end is always the same. Every Loki, every Hermes, every Coyote, they're all fragments of the same truth. The nations remembered the fallen sons of God as clever gods, but Scripture unmasks them as rebels against the Most High. As Christians, this is not just an interesting historical footnote, it's a call to vigilance. We are commanded to guard our hearts from evil influences, to be wise about what narratives we allow to shape our thinking, and to take seriously that there is an active, ongoing spiritual war. Guarding our hearts means that recognizing the same deceptive strategies used in myth are at play in our culture today, often disguised as harmless entertainment. But it doesn't stop at defense. We are called to take the offensive, to fight for Christ's kingdom through truth, prayer, and bold witness. The Great Commission is not a suggestion. It's a battle order in a war that is as real as any fought with weapons. We are watching the PR campaign for evil in real time, and it's working. If we don't recognize it for what it is, we'll cheer for the very beings that Scripture warns us will be judged. But then maybe that's the greatest trick of all. If you enjoy topics like this that explore the hidden spiritual war behind history, like and subscribe. Also, a huge thanks to all of you who have already subscribed and followed elsewhere. Don't forget to find Glory Concealed on Spotify, Rumble, Instagram, X, and TikTok. And remember, the glory of God is often concealed, but it's always there for those who seek it.